The laboratory on the alien planet of Zorath was unlike anything human eyes had ever seen. Towers of glowing crystalline tubes lined the walls, their inner energy pulsing with a soft, otherworldly light. The air was thick with a faint hum, like the planet itself was alive and breathing. Humans had only recently begun to explore Zorath, but Lieutenant Rohan, one of the first human scientists to be stationed there, felt more curiosity than fear. He stepped carefully across the translucent floor, which seemed almost liquid under his boots, yet solid enough to support his weight. His mission was simple: observe and learn from the alien scientists, report back to the Human Council, and if possible, help establish peaceful cooperation. But simple tasks rarely stayed simple when aliens were involved. At the center of the room stood a single figure, bending over a luminous console. She was unlike any being Rohan had encountered before. Her skin shimmered with faint silver patterns, and her large violet eyes reflected the glow of the lab. Her movements were graceful, precise, almost musical, as she adjusted the controls of a device that emitted tiny arcs of blue energy. "Please, don't interfere with my experiment," the alien girl warned in careful common, her voice melodic but firm. Rohan froze. She could speak his language. That was unexpected, but it didn't make her words any less clear. The tone carried a weight of urgency, and he understood instinctively that this was not a casual request. I just wanted to see," Rohan said, raising his hand slightly. He wanted to appear respectful, but curiosity prickled at his mind like static electricity. The device she was working on had intricate spinning components that seemed alive, reacting to her touch and gestures. He had never seen anything like it, not even in the human space stations. Her gaze sharpened. "Observation is permitted, but interference, not." Rohan nodded. "Understood," he said. But even as he spoke, the human urge to learn, to touch and explore surged stronger. In human history, curiosity had always driven progress. He stepped a little closer, unable to resist studying the strange technology. "You are too close," she warned again, her voice softening slightly, but her eyes still wary. "If you disturb the field, it could destabilize the containment." Containment? Rohan's mind raced. What was in that device that required such care? Energy, life form, or something even stranger? He glanced at the glowing arcs of energy, trying to understand. The device seemed to respond to the alien girl's hands, forming patterns in the air, almost like light dancing to music. Rohan's fascination grew. "It's incredible," he whispered. "What is it?" She hesitated. Then after a moment she said, "It is a crystallizer. It transforms ambient energy into a temporary physical form. But the process is delicate. A single misstep could. Well, we don't know what would happen." Rohan's eyes widened. He had worked with experimental energy fields before, but nothing like this. "Could I help?" he asked cautiously. She shook her head firmly. "No, it is not safe for you or for me if you touch it. Please stay back." Rohan nodded again. He wanted to obey, but the scientist inside him ached to understand, to touch, to interact. He crouched slightly, examining the lower portion of the device where energy filaments twisted like tiny lightning storms. Then, as if in slow motion, he felt the temptation overcome his hesitation. One finger reached forward, not to grab, not to pull, just to lightly touch the edge of the crystal filament. The alien girl's eyes widened in alarm. "No!" she shouted. "Do not!" Rohan's finger brushed the surface, and the lab erupted in sudden light. Energy spiraled wildly, forming arcs that danced around the room. He was thrown back by the invisible force, hitting the floor hard. When he regained his senses, the lab was silent. The crystal device lay dormant, its glow dimmed to a soft, harmless shimmer, and standing over him was the alien girl, her expression a mixture of fear and frustration. "You broke the flow," she said quietly, almost to herself. Then she looked at him with sharp violet eyes. "Do you understand what you have done?" Rohan sat up, rubbing his shoulder. I didn't mean to," he stammered. "I just wanted to understand." Her gaze softened slightly, but her warning remained. "Curiosity is a dangerous gift. Humans, you touch too quickly, think too fast. Here, patience is more valuable than knowledge." Rohan swallowed. He knew she was right. He had been reckless, but he couldn't stop the thrill of discovery that coursed through him. I'll do better," he promised. She hesitated, studying him closely. Finally, she said, "Perhaps. But for now, you must leave this room. Observation only." As Rohan stepped back, he noticed something odd. The crystal device had not returned to its exact previous state. Tiny filaments of energy floated in the air, forming patterns he had never seen before. The alien girl followed his gaze. "It is different," she murmured. "The interference has altered the flow. I must stabilize it. But perhaps it is not entirely bad." Rohan tilted his head. "You mean, my mistake could help?" She shook her head. "Not exactly. But it has revealed something new. Something I could not have anticipated." Rohan felt a surge of cautious pride. Even though he had disobeyed, even though he had caused a disruption, his human instincts, the desire to explore and understand, had created a new possibility. The alien girl studied him, her expression unreadable. "Humans are unpredictable," she said finally. "Perhaps that is why you survive where others fail." Rohan smiled faintly. "I survive because I learn. That is what humans do." She seemed to consider this. Then with a sigh, she turned back to the device. "Stay back. Watch but do not touch. You may learn more by restraint than by interference." Rohan nodded. He stepped to the side, his eyes glued to the glowing crystal, watching as the alien girl's hands moved with precision and care. Energy filaments twisted into shapes, patterns, and even temporary forms that resembled creatures. They danced for a moment, then vanished. He felt awe unlike anything he had ever experienced. In that moment, he realized why humans were called explorers, pioneers, and adventurers. No matter how much danger or how strange the universe became, the human spirit pushed forward, and sometimes that reckless curiosity could create new paths, even if it broke things along the way. The alien girl glanced at him once more. "Tomorrow you may help, but today you have learned the first lesson. Respect the flow, or it will break you." Rohan nodded, silently promising himself that he would remember. He had touched the unknown and survived. He had caused disruption but also sparked something new. And in that strange, beautiful laboratory on Zorath, he felt the first true stirrings of human achievement among the stars. As he left the room, the hum of the lab followed him, a reminder that knowledge was alive, delicate and demanding. And somewhere in the back of his mind, Rohan knew that this was only the beginning. Tomorrow he would return. And next time he would touch, but with care, patience, and the relentless curiosity that made humans human. The next day, Rohan returned to the laboratory, his mind buzzing with anticipation. The events of the previous day had left him restless. He could still feel the lingering pulse of energy from the crystal device, and the thought that his accidental touch had revealed something new filled him with both pride and apprehension. The alien girl, whose name he now knew was Leora, was already in the lab when he arrived. She moved with the same careful grace, her hands dancing over the controls as if coaxing the energy itself to obey. The soft hum of the device welcomed him, almost like a living thing recognizing a familiar visitor. "Good morning, human," she said, her violet eyes meeting his. There was no warmth yet, only cautious acknowledgement. "I trust you have remembered yesterday's lesson?" "I have," Rohan replied. "I will observe and follow instructions." He tried to sound confident, but his heart raced. He knew that the human desire to explore could be hard to contain, especially when faced with wonders like this. Leora nodded, seemingly satisfied. "Very well. Today you may assist, but only under strict guidance. You will not touch without my direction. Understand?" Rohan nodded eagerly. Understood. He moved closer, careful not to disrupt the air currents or the energy filaments that twisted through the room. The crystal device pulsed gently, its light reflecting off the walls in patterns that reminded him of distant galaxies. It was mesmerizing, and he felt an almost magnetic pull toward it. Leora began her work, explaining each step in measured tones. The crystallizer converts ambient energy into temporary physical constructs. These constructs can be used for a variety of purposes: energy storage, communication, or even healing. But the process is unstable. Each interaction must be precise. Rohan listened intently, absorbing every detail. He had spent years in human space labs, but nothing prepared him for this. The alien technology was far beyond anything humans had developed, yet he could sense the logic behind it. If he paid attention, he might learn something valuable. "Today we will attempt a controlled formation," Leora said. "You will assist me in monitoring the energy flow and adjusting containment fields. If you follow instructions, nothing will go wrong." Rohan felt a thrill of excitement. This was his chance to contribute, to be part of something beyond human experience. He focused on the controls she indicated, adjusting the energy stabilizers as she directed. The device responded smoothly, forming small, glowing shapes in the air. They hovered, shimmering in delicate patterns before dissolving into light. Rohan was captivated. He had never seen anything so beautiful, so alive in its motion. "Good," Leora said, glancing at him. "You are attentive. That is essential." Hours passed as they worked together. Rohan learned quickly, guided by Leora's steady instructions. He marveled at her precision, her ability to manipulate the energy without ever disturbing the flow. At the same time, he began to notice small changes in the device itself. The energy filaments moved more fluidly, forming patterns that seemed almost intelligent. "Do you see that?" he asked quietly. "It's different from yesterday." Leora followed his gaze, her expression thoughtful. "Yes. Your interference altered the flow, but it revealed new potential. We can attempt formations that were previously impossible." "Carefully, you may observe and record," Rohan's heart pounded. He had caused disruption yesterday, but now that disruption was opening doors. He felt a sense of purpose, a reminder of why humans explored, experimented, and often risked mistakes. It was in their nature to push boundaries, and sometimes that very push created progress. As they continued, an unexpected development occurred. One of the energy constructs began to grow beyond the expected size. It expanded rapidly, filling the center of the room with swirling light. Rohan stepped back instinctively, but Leora raised her hand, signaling him to remain calm. "Do not panic," she said. "The flow is unstable but not uncontrollable. Observe closely." The construct shifted, taking the form of a large crystalline creature. Its shape was magnificent, with delicate wings of energy and eyes that seemed almost sentient. Rohan felt awe and a twinge of fear. He had never seen energy take on such a vivid form. It's alive," he whispered. Leora shook her head. "Not alive in the sense you understand. It responds to the energy around it. It has no consciousness, yet it is aware of disturbances. That is why yesterday's interference caused this reaction." The creature moved with fluid grace, hovering above the floor as if testing its boundaries. Rohan noticed the way it responded to Leora's subtle hand movements, obeying her commands almost instinctively. "This is incredible," Rohan said. "We could learn so much from it." Leora glanced at him, her expression unreadable. "We will, but only if you remain careful. One wrong step and the energy could collapse, harming both you and the device." Rohan nodded. He felt the weight of responsibility, the delicate balance between curiosity and caution. He had learned yesterday what happened when humans acted without restraint. Today he would prove that humans could also learn, adapt, and respect alien knowledge. Hours turned into an entire cycle of Zorath's day, and the energy construct continued to grow and change. Rohan meticulously recorded observations, adjusting stabilizers under Leora's guidance. He noticed patterns in the energy's behavior, small hints that it responded not only to physical manipulation but also to intent. "It senses your focus," Leora said, her eyes narrowing. "Energy responds to thought and attention. You are learning quickly, human." Rohan felt a mixture of pride and humility. He knew he had much to learn, yet he also understood that humans had a unique trait: persistence. No matter the difficulty, they adapted. They observed, experimented, and sometimes disrupted, but always with the potential to create new understanding. As the cycle ended, the energy construct slowly dissolved, leaving behind only a faint shimmer in the air. Leora exhaled, a rare display of relief. "You have done well today. Perhaps humans are not entirely reckless." Rohan smiled, exhausted but exhilarated. "I learned from my mistakes," he said. "And I learned from you." She regarded him silently, then said, "Tomorrow we attempt a more complex formation. If you remain cautious and attentive, you may participate in the manipulation itself." Rohan's excitement surged. The opportunity to interact directly, to contribute beyond observation, was everything he had hoped for. Yet he also remembered the warning from yesterday. Patience and respect were as important as curiosity. He would need to balance both. As he prepared to leave, he glanced once more at the dormant device. It seemed to pulse softly, almost as if acknowledging his presence. He felt a strange connection, not just to the energy, but to the alien girl who had become both teacher and guardian. Outside the laboratory, Zorath's twin suns bathed the landscape in a golden glow. Rohan took a deep breath, savoring the alien air, filled with the sense of strange flora and faint electrical currents. He knew the day had been transformative. Not only had he learned about alien technology, but he had also learned about himself, his persistence, his curiosity, and his capacity to respect forces far greater than himself. As night approached, Rohan sat under the glow of the twin moons, thinking about what tomorrow might bring. He imagined the energy constructs, the patterns of light, and the delicate dance between human curiosity and alien precision. He felt ready, and somewhere in the back of his mind, he sensed that this partnership with Leora and the mysterious crystallizer was only the beginning of something far greater. Tomorrow, humans and aliens would collaborate more closely than ever before, and perhaps, just perhaps, they would discover that together, they could achieve something that neither species could accomplish alone. The morning light on Zorath painted the sky in shades of deep violet and gold. Rohan felt a strange mixture of excitement and nervousness as he approached the laboratory. Today's challenge was different. The crystal device, now familiar yet still mysterious, would operate autonomously. Its energy filaments would move and shift according to their own logic, responding only to the subtle adjustments Rohan and Leora made. He entered the lab to find Leora already at her station. She was calm, but her violet eyes carried a quiet intensity. The hum of the crystal device filled the room, resonating through the translucent floor. "Today," she began, "the device will act on its own. You must anticipate its patterns and respond. Observe closely, but do not act rashly. Your intuition and judgment will be tested." Rohan nodded, trying to steady his racing heart. He understood the stakes. Autonomous formations could be unpredictable. One misstep could destabilize the energy, or worse, cause it to collapse entirely. "Are you ready?" Leora asked, her voice precise. "As ready as I'll ever be," Rohan replied, though inside he felt both apprehension and exhilaration. The device pulsed, and a single filament of energy shot into the air, spinning and stretching in complex patterns. Slowly it multiplied, forming smaller arcs that connected into intricate designs. Rohan watched, noting the rhythm, the flow, and the subtle interactions between filaments. "It is forming its own network," he observed. "I can almost predict the next movement," Leora nodded. "Predicting is good, but remember, anticipate. The device responds to intention, not just observation. You must guide it without forcing it." Rohan adjusted the stabilizers gently, following Leora's instructions. The device reacted immediately, the filaments weaving into flowing patterns that resembled luminous webs. He realized that this was not just about following directions. It was about thinking ahead, understanding how the energy might behave next, and acting in harmony with it. Hours passed as Rohan and Leora worked side by side. Each autonomous movement of the device brought new patterns, new surprises. Sometimes the energy expanded too quickly, forcing Rohan to react swiftly. Other times it slowed unexpectedly, testing his patience and focus. "You are improving," Leora said during a brief pause. "Yesterday you followed instructions. Today you are learning to guide without controlling. That is rare for humans." Rohan smiled faintly. "I am learning from you and from the device itself." She studied him for a moment, then nodded. Observation, anticipation, and adaptation, 3 qualities essential to mastery. Humans have potential, but few demonstrate it so quickly. Suddenly, the energy filaments began to converge into a massive, glowing structure at the center of the room. Rohan's heart leapt. It was larger than anything they had attempted before, and its movements were more complex, almost like a living organism. "Leora, it's enormous," he said, awe in his voice. "Yes," she replied, "and unpredictable. Be careful, guide it, but do not attempt to control it completely. Let it show you its patterns." Rohan took a deep breath and focused. He studied the lattice of energy, noticing subtle cues in its movement. The device seemed to respond to both their actions and their awareness. He realized that they were not controlling it, they were communicating with it through intention. A surge of energy shot upward, and the lattice wavered. Rohan's fingers moved quickly over the stabilizers, adjusting in precise increments. The structure responded, stabilizing just enough to continue its complex formation. "You see," Leora said, "your attentiveness and patience are guiding it. Humans often act too fast, too forcefully. Here, restraint is strength." Rohan nodded, understanding more deeply than ever before. This was not just science, it was a partnership. Between human, alien, and technology, a balance had formed. But then an unexpected event occurred. A ripple of energy surged through the lattice, larger and more erratic than any before. The room shook slightly, and Rohan felt a moment of panic. "Leora," he shouted. "It's destabilizing. Focus," she commanded. Do not react with fear. Predict, anticipate, and guide. Rohan forced himself to calm down. He remembered the lessons of the previous days: patience, observation, and careful action. He watched the energy, predicting its next movement, and adjusted the stabilizers in perfect timing. Slowly, the lattice steadied, glowing more brightly than before. Leora exhaled, a rare smile crossing her features. "Excellent. You remained calm. You acted with thought, not impulse. That is why you succeeded." Rohan felt a surge of pride. Humans were often reckless, but they were also capable of incredible focus and adaptability when the situation demanded it. He realized that in moments like this, humanity's persistence could shine as brightly as any alien technology. As the cycle of autonomous formations continued, Rohan noticed patterns emerging that even Leora had not anticipated. Certain filaments moved in synchronization, forming shapes and structures that suggested a deeper intelligence within the device itself. It's like it's learning," he whispered. Leora's eyes narrowed in thought. Perhaps it is responding to our intentions more subtly than I understood. Either way, it is evolving. Your human presence may be influencing it in ways I did not predict." Rohan felt a thrill. The idea that humans, through patience, observation, and intention, could contribute to the growth of alien technology filled him with excitement. This was not interference or recklessness. This was collaboration, the kind that could change the course of understanding for both species. The day continued with challenges and surprises. Some energy constructs formed unexpectedly, creating beautiful but delicate shapes. Rohan adjusted stabilizers, fine-tuned the containment fields, and guided the autonomous formations with precision. Each success built his confidence. Each near failure reinforced the lessons of restraint and attentiveness. By the end of the cycle, the lattice slowly dissolved into shimmering particles, leaving the laboratory bathed in soft residual light. Rohan was exhausted but exhilarated. He had guided the autonomous device through its most complex formation yet, and he had done so without causing destabilization or harm. Leora approached him, her expression unreadable at first. Then she spoke. "You have done well today, human. Your adaptability, focus, and intuition are impressive. Perhaps humans have potential beyond what I previously believed." Rohan smiled, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. "Thank you, Leora. I've learned from you and from the device itself." She studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Tomorrow we attempt something entirely new. The device will act with greater independence. You must respond not just with observation, but with understanding. This will test both your skill and your judgment to the fullest." Rohan's excitement surged. Each day on Zorath pushed him further than he had imagined. The crystal device was more than technology. It was a teacher, a challenge, and a partner. And alongside Leora, he felt that humans could rise to meet any challenge, no matter how alien or complex. As he left the laboratory, Rohan paused to look out at the landscape of Zorath. The twin moons glowed faintly in the sky, casting gentle light across the terrain. He thought of the energy lattice, of the lessons learned, and of the partnership forming between human and alien. And deep within him, he knew that tomorrow would be a turning point. The device would test them, push them, and reveal new possibilities. But Rohan also knew that humans, through curiosity, persistence, and careful thought, could rise to the challenge and achieve the extraordinary. As night fell over Zorath, Rohan felt a renewed sense of purpose. He had learned that mistakes could teach, that patience could guide, and that humans could stand as equals alongside the most advanced alien minds. Tomorrow, the crystal device would act with full autonomy. And tomorrow, Rohan would face it not as an observer but as a participant. A human capable of shaping the future alongside the alien girl who had become his teacher, guide, and partner in discovery. The next morning, Rohan woke before the twin suns had fully risen over Zorath. His mind raced with anticipation. Today was the day he would move beyond observation and into active participation with the crystal device. After yesterday's successes and near disasters, he knew he had to be careful. Mistakes could be costly, but the human spirit thrived on challenges, and Rohan felt ready. He made his way through the alien corridors to the laboratory, the walls glowing softly in response to his footsteps. Leora was already there, adjusting the containment fields and speaking to the energy filaments as if they were living creatures. Her eyes caught his as he entered, a faint nod acknowledging his arrival. "Good morning," she said. "You are punctual. That is commendable." "Good morning," Rohan replied, his voice steady despite the excitement in his chest. "I am ready to assist." "Good," Leora said. "Today we attempt a complex formation. This will require cooperation and precise attention. You must follow my instructions exactly. One misstep could destabilize the field." Rohan nodded, reminding himself of yesterday's lesson. Patience and respect were just as important as curiosity. The crystal device glowed faintly, its energy filament stretching and twisting in preparation. Rohan could feel the hum vibrating through the floor, resonating with his very heartbeat. He took a deep breath, focusing on controlling his excitement. "First," Leora instructed, "we establish the containment matrix. You will adjust the stabilizers on the left side, while I guide the energy from the center. Watch my hands carefully and mirror my motions when I tell you." Rohan moved into position, his fingers hovering over the controls. He observed Leora's hands as she gestured with fluid precision. Slowly, deliberately, he mirrored her motions, adjusting the stabilizers to match her guidance. The energy responded immediately, forming gentle arcs that floated above the device. "You are attentive," Leora said. "That is good. Keep your focus on the flow, not the result." Rohan frowned slightly, puzzled. "Not the result?" "Yes," she explained. "Humans often focus on the outcome, what they hope to achieve. Here, the energy responds to intent and attention. You must guide it with care, not rush to control it." Rohan adjusted his approach, concentrating on the flow rather than imagining shapes or outcomes. Slowly, he felt a connection forming, a delicate link between his focus and the energy itself. It was unlike anything he had ever experienced in human science. Hours passed in meticulous work. The energy filaments responded to their synchronized actions, twisting and intertwining into intricate patterns. The air hummed with a vibrant resonance, and the laboratory seemed to come alive around them. Then something unexpected happened. A surge of energy rippled through the device, larger and more intense than any they had created before. Rohan's heart raced, and he instinctively braced himself. "Leora," he shouted, fear and awe mixing in his voice. She remained calm, though her eyes narrowed. "Steady, human. Do not panic. The surge is natural at this stage. Follow my lead." With precise gestures, Leora guided the energy, bending the surge into a controlled spiral above the device. Rohan followed her instructions, adjusting the stabilizers as directed. Together they balanced the surge, transforming potential chaos into a breathtaking display of glowing shapes. Rohan felt exhilaration coursing through him. They had created something that neither human nor alien had attempted before, a massive living lattice of energy, pulsating and shifting as if it had its own consciousness. It's beautiful," he whispered, unable to tear his eyes away. Leora's gaze softened slightly. "Beauty is a byproduct of balance. Chaos is dangerous, but when guided carefully, it can create wonders." Rohan's mind raced. Humans had always been bold explorers, willing to risk mistakes in pursuit of discovery. Here he realized that same courage could lead to incredible achievement, but only when paired with caution and respect. As they continued, Rohan began to notice subtle patterns within the lattice. Certain motions and gestures produced specific shapes, almost like a language of energy. He pointed them out to Leora, who studied them thoughtfully. "Interesting," she murmured. "Your human intuition may be valuable here. Perhaps we can use it to expand the formations beyond my previous designs." Rohan felt a surge of pride. His instincts had contributed to something new, showing that human creativity could complement alien precision. He had caused disruption before, but now he was helping build something extraordinary. But their success was short-lived. A sudden fluctuation in the energy flow sent the lattice wobbling dangerously. Rohan's hands trembled over the stabilizers. "Leora, it's destabilizing," he shouted. "Steady yourself," she commanded. "Do not force the energy. Guide it with intention, not strength. Rohan took a deep breath, focusing on calm, measured adjustments. Slowly, he felt the lattice respond, settling into a new, stable form. Sweat dripped down his forehead, but he smiled. They had overcome the challenge together. Liora studied him carefully. You have learned quickly, human. Your persistence and adaptability are unusual among your kind. Perhaps humans are capable of more than I anticipated. Rohan smiled faintly. We are, but we learn from mistakes and from others who are wiser than us. She regarded him silently for a moment, then nodded.
Indeed, today you have shown both curiosity and discipline.
That is rare. They continued their work until the suns began to set over Zorath. The energy lattice dissolved slowly, leaving behind only a faint shimmer in the air. Rohan felt exhausted, but a deep satisfaction filled him. He had participated fully, contributed meaningfully, and learned more than he ever imagined. As they left the laboratory, Liora spoke softly. Tomorrow we face a greater challenge. The device will attempt autonomous formations. You must anticipate the energy's movements and respond quickly. It will test both your skill and your judgment. Rohan nodded, a mixture of excitement and apprehension coursing through him. He knew this challenge would push him further than before, but he felt ready. Humans thrived on challenges, and he had already proven that curiosity and courage could yield results. Outside, the alien sky blazed with color as Zorath's suns dipped below the horizon. Rohan paused, taking in the beauty of the alien world. He thought about the energy lattice, the delicate balance of the crystal device, and the lessons Liora had taught him. And somewhere deep inside, he knew that this was more than just a scientific experiment. It was a test of human spirit, of courage, patience, and ingenuity. It was a reminder that humans could adapt, learn, and excel even in worlds far beyond their own. As night settled over Zorath, Rohan felt a sense of anticipation, unlike anything he had experienced before. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but he was determined to meet them. With Liora's guidance and human persistence, he believed they could achieve something extraordinary, something that neither species could accomplish alone. And in that quiet moment beneath the twin moons, Rohan felt the first true stirrings of partnership, discovery, and hope that would shape the days to come. The next day dawned over Zorath with a brilliance that made the twin suns gleam like molten gold in the sky. Rohan's heart raced as he approached the laboratory. Today would be the ultimate test. The crystal device, now fully understood in principle but still full of mystery, would operate at full autonomy. It would test both human skill and intuition to the limit, and Rohan knew the outcomes were unpredictable. Liora stood by the device, her hands poised above the controls. She turned to Rohan, her violet eyes calm, yet intense. Today, she said, the device will act independently. You must anticipate its movements, respond to fluctuations, and maintain balance. You are not merely observing, you are shaping its behavior with your presence and judgment. Rohan swallowed and nodded. I understand, Liora. I am ready. Good, she replied. Remember all you have learned: patience, observation, adaptation, and respect for the flow. If you fail to maintain balance, the lattice may collapse. But if you succeed, you may witness something never seen before. Rohan's excitement and nervousness mingled. This was the culmination of days of learning, observation, and careful guidance. The energy lattice, once wild and unpredictable, had become something almost alive, a partner in creation. He took a deep breath and stepped forward. The crystal device pulsed and shivered, and from it emerged hundreds of energy filaments, each twisting and moving independently. They formed complex, glowing patterns that shimmered and shifted, creating shapes and motions beyond human imagination. The device was alive with motion, but it was also fragile. One mistake, one impulsive move, could send it into chaos. Rohan began adjusting the stabilizers under Liora's guidance, but this time, he also relied on intuition. He studied the lattice, noticing its subtle shifts, the pauses between movements, the energy ripples that hinted at its next formation. He realized that today's success required not only action, but understanding. You are ready, Liora said quietly. Trust yourself. Rohan focused, He guided the stabilizers and containment fields with precision, adjusting not just to correct errors, but to anticipate the lattice's intentions. The energy responded, forming intricate spirals, arcs, and lattices that intertwined like celestial patterns. Hours passed and the energy structures grew more elaborate. Rohan and Leora worked together, their movements synchronized. It was no longer merely human guidance or alien mastery. It was collaboration across species, across thought and intention. Suddenly, the lattice expanded rapidly, forming a massive floating structure that pulsed with vibrant energy. Rohan felt a surge of panic but remembered Leora's words. Patience and observation first, reaction second. He focused, adjusted stabilizers gently, and guided the lattice without force. Slowly, the structure stabilized, glowing more brightly than ever. It's forming a stable construct, Rohan exclaimed. Leora nodded, her expression one of awe. Yes, this is the result of harmony between human intent and alien understanding. You have become a true partner in this process. Rohan felt pride swelling in his chest. Humans were often seen as reckless, impulsive, and unpredictable, but here, he had demonstrated focus, adaptation, and insight. The human spirit, when tempered, with patience and respect, could achieve what even the most advanced alien technology could not accomplish alone. The energy lattice continued to shift, now forming shapes that resembled familiar constructs, bridges, towers, and even delicate arches of crystalline light. Each movement was a dialogue between Rohan, Leora, and the device. He adjusted, she guided, and the lattice responded, creating patterns more complex and beautiful than either could achieve alone. Then, without warning, a massive surge of energy shot upward. The room shook violently and filaments flared wildly. Rohan felt the pulse through the floor, the air, and his very bones. "Leora, it's destabilizing," he shouted, fear gripping him. "Steady yourself," she commanded. "Do not act in panic. Use observation, anticipate, guide. You are ready for this." Rohan closed his eyes for a moment, centering himself. He remembered every lesson, the failures of the first day, the careful observation of Part 2, the autonomous formations of Part 3, and the delicate guidance of Part 4. He opened his eyes, heart steady and moved with intention, not haste. He adjusted the stabilizers with precise movements, anticipating the energy ripples. He mirrored the lattice's own rhythm, matching its motion and guiding it gently. Slowly, the surging filaments responded, calming and settling into a massive radiant formation. Leora's eyes widened. "You did it," she whispered. "You guided it without forcing it. You balanced chaos and creation perfectly." Rohan exhaled, feeling a wave of relief and exhilaration. The lattice now hovered above the floor, a massive, stable structure of light and energy, pulsing in mesmerizing patterns. It was alive with motion yet completely harmonious. For a moment, the laboratory was silent except for the gentle hum of the device. Rohan and Leora stood together, observing the creation. He realized that this moment was not just about science. It was about collaboration, understanding, and the power of human potential when guided by curiosity and respect. "You have proven humans capable of great precision and insight," Leora said, her voice softer than usual. "You have learned quickly, adapted, and guided without forcing. Today, you are more than a human observer. You are a true partner." Rohan felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had not only participated in something extraordinary, but he had also proven that humans could rise to meet challenges beyond their understanding. Their species' curiosity, persistence, and adaptability had allowed them to achieve what no one could accomplish alone. As the twin suns of Zorath set, casting long shadows across the laboratory, Rohan and Leora carefully guided the lattice into its final formation. It stabilized, glowing softly, radiating energy that felt alive, yet completely controlled. "Tomorrow," Leora said, "we will attempt to expand the lattice beyond the laboratory. If successful, humans and aliens may use it to create structures, store energy, and communicate in ways neither species imagined. But today, Today, you have proven that humans can rise to challenges of great complexity. Rohan smiled, exhausted but triumphant. Thank you, Leora. Without your guidance, none of this would have been possible, and without our collaboration, the device would have remained limited. Humans and aliens together, we can achieve anything. She studied him quietly, then nodded. Indeed, today the flow of energy and understanding has been shared equally. Tomorrow we will see how far this partnership can reach. As he left the laboratory, Rohan paused to look out at the horizon of Zorath. The twin moons glowed faintly, casting soft light over the alien landscape. He thought about the energy lattice, the lessons he had learned, and the incredible partnership he had formed with Leora. He realized that humanity's greatest strength was not technology, nor brute force, but curiosity, persistence, and the ability to learn from mistakes. These qualities had allowed him to rise to the challenge, guide the crystal device, and achieve something extraordinary. And deep inside, he knew that this was only the beginning. The collaboration between humans and aliens, guided by respect, understanding, and shared curiosity, would unlock possibilities beyond imagination. As night settled over Zorath, Rohan felt a renewed sense of purpose. He had faced challenges, overcome fear, and guided the unknown with patience and insight. He had proven that humans, though often reckless, could also be capable of incredible precision, creativity, and achievement. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new discoveries, and new opportunities for humans and aliens to work together. But tonight, Rohan allowed himself a moment of quiet triumph. He had touched the unknown, guided it carefully, and in doing so, had shown what humans could accomplish when curiosity, persistence, and respect combined. And as he looked up at the twin moons of Zorath glowing like distant beacons, he understood something profound. Humans were explorers, innovators, and partners in creation. And in the vastness of space, with the right guidance and the right heart, there was no limit to what they could achieve.